Hi, Alan Stratton from As Wood Turns. The club challenge this month was to make a Kuksa, which is styled after a northern Scandinavian carved mug out of birch, but I made mine out of walnut and did it on the lathe. It has a flat handle, much like the ladles, but also probably ought to have a flat bottom so that it can actually set down on something. You may notice that I have a glove on my hand. I had a minor accident and had a couple of stitches in my thumb, and the doctor said to keep it clean and dry. Well, how do you keep it clean in a dirty wood shop, especially when you're working with walnut? I'm using this food service glove, come in a box of 500, and they are very cheap, and they may not be high fashion, but they do the job. The other thing I used significantly in making this, especially in forming this flat handle and blending it in, was this sanding setup that attaches to my lathe, since my big sanding belt has been broken for some time. But what it consists of, thanks to Leon out of Cedar City, but essentially it is a 3-inch square tube with the top cut off and a hole drilled in the back to hold this. Leon gave me this. I drilled and threaded a 1-inch piece of steel to serve as the tool post. Then he gave me some inner tube of the right size. I mounted a piece of maple to a faceplate, turned it with a dome so it would track properly. This is on the lathe with the live center brought up to behind it. A small 3-inch by 21 sanding belt, then a bolt through a poplar platen with graphite cloth on the top to reduce the friction. So he helped me make that. It's tight here on the back, and then this is the direction of travel. And it worked pretty well. It's low speed, doesn't have a lot of tension to it, but it served admirably on this project and enabled me to do the detail sanding around the handle on this Kuksa. So let's go ahead and make this Kuksa.
My chunk of walnut is only about 2.5 inches thick. Since I will be turning a sphere, then hollowing, this would make a very small mug. So I've glued some pine to the top and bottom of the walnut in the area where the sphere will be. Although I will eventually turn off this pine, this will enable me to maximize the sphere without having to deal with cutting air. After rounding, I'm cutting a tenon on the handle side. Actually, my handle end now looks way too long. It would hang out too far from the chuck. I'm cutting a new tenon and wasting off the extra wood. Now that the wood is mounted to the chuck, I'm parting off some from the sphere end that I don't need. When I turn a sphere, I like to guide my eye by first making an octagon. I measure the diameter and mark the same length for the length of the sphere. Then consult my sphere cheat sheet to find out what the side measurement for an octagon of that diameter. I'm cutting the end down to that diameter. Now, with that end well defined, I can remeasure the length and true it somewhat. But I cannot go all the way to the same smaller diameter because of the handle. Then, after consulting my cheat sheet for the distance from the end to the next corner, I can mark these two lines from their respective ends. I also check the distance from them, since that should be the face length. Next, cut the corners off from the marked line to the small diameter I cut on the end. For the handle side, I approximated the cut. Now split each face by marking a line in the middle of each face. Then proceed to round off everything into a sphere. With some shear scraping, I get pretty close to a sphere. For this project, I cannot make it a perfect sphere. Close is enough. Now I'm power sanding at moderate lathe speed up through the grits. Now I'm ready to form the cup part, but first I have to cut a new tenon. I'm mounting the wood on the face of the closed chuck jaws with pressure from the live center, then cut a tenon. Now I'm reversing the kuksa onto the new tenon. The handle is still too long, so I trimmed it a little on the bandsaw. I don't need that end tenon anymore anyway. Now I can drill a depth hole to guide the hollowing. This is a long drill bit with a handle for this very purpose. And I can proceed with the hollowing. I'm removing some wood with a bowl gouge before switching to a box scraper. Then to even out the bottom corner, I'm using a round nose scraper. After sanding the interior, I'm applying a mixture of beeswax and mineral oil, since, at least theoretically, this could be used for drinking. I want a food-safe finish. Now a trip to the bandsaw to shape the handle. Followed by the drill press to drill a couple of finger holes. My camera operator did not press record when I used my wooden jaws as soft touch jaws to turn off the bottom tenon. But here's the aftermath. I left off one jaw to accommodate the handle. I recessed into the jaws just a little less than the cup diameter, then opened the jaws for the cup. They held just fine. Now for the nasty work, sanding the handle. Thanks to Leon from Cedar City, I have a lathe-mounted belt sander. I made the platen with a fairly sharp radius. If I need a different radius, I can make a new platen. I cannot put a lot of tension on the belt, so this is a low-speed, light touch sander. That's fine with me. For fine sanding, I'm using a 2-inch disc mounted to the lathe. Then apply beeswax and mineral oil all over the kuksa. There's my kuksa. It's very similar to a scoop, but a lot more sanding to have a flat handle. Gluing the pine was worth the work to maximize the cup size and make the turning easier. At least I did not have to turn a lot of air. I'd rather turn a round handle and avoid the sanding, but I have to make at least one to prove to myself that I can do it. The lathe-mounted belt sander saved my day. That's it for this walnut kuksa. Please give this video a thumbs up, subscribe on my website, and tell your friends. Please wear your full face shield. Goggles are not enough protection. I'm Alan Stratton from As Wood Turns. Every week I make a new wood turning video, so come on back next week.